Welcome everyone for another edition of Founder Chat. This is Jody Soper, independent market partner and founder with Monat, and I'm super excited today to be with another founder here in Monat, Angela McKay, and I really appreciate her taking some time because we love sharing these series of interviews. These are always going to be training for the field, by the field, just to share amazing things that are happening. So Angela, thank you so much for being here today and sharing a little bit about your story.
Well, thanks, Jody, for having me. I'm excited to talk today. Again, yes, my name's Angela McKay, and our story is really unique in the fact that we have been in direct sales full time for 5 years, both my husband and myself, and so we see the power of the industry. And when we found Monat in September last year in the pre-launch, we were really excited about how this company stood out. We saw a lot of distinguishing factors that weren't in other companies. And I remember asking my husband, not really permission, but kind of saying, we're going to do another opportunity. And he looked like a deer in headlights because he knows how hard that can be. But we also saw the value of that hard work. And so, that's how we got involved with Monat. And it's been an amazing, exciting journey so far.
Oh, amazing. So when you were introduced to it, were you just looking online? Is that what happened? You were just kind of searching and keeping an eye on what's happening in new companies?
Well, actually, excuse me, we found it, like many people, in the pre-launch phase through Facebook, and I'm not a person who waits for anyone to contact me. I reached out, grabbed the phone, and had a great conversation with Devin at home office, but it was kind of an ongoing joke. I talked to Devin, and there wasn't a lot of information at that time, so I wanted to make sure Devin wasn't sitting in the Holiday Inn ready to take my credit card number, so I made him put me in contact with the RSMs, and um, after I spoke to Teresa Epps, I absolutely knew that this company was going to be a very big part of my career. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So once you saw what was going on and you talked to Teresa and you realized the distinguishing factors that you were kind of talking about in regards to Monat, how long did you guys decide? Did you wait before you decided to sign and join and become part of this company?
Sure. Well, back then there was no samples to really try. So I basically went in on the opportunity, which I feel is our best product. I think 48 hours after talking to Teresa, looking at one of the first webinars, I knew that it was time to just jump in with both feet. We were about 2 weeks from the U.S. launch, and there was definitely some urgency because Founder was something that was going to be off the table, they thought, October 1st. So I knew I had to leverage that exciting opportunity, not only for myself, but to really get people in position to have a founding team. So it was pretty quick, and I was glad to get the products afterwards to make sure they smelled nice. My hair felt great, but I took a big leap of faith just based on what I saw with the business side.
Oh, that is so cool. So when you got started in that first, pre-launch or even the first month that we launched in the United States, what was the number one thing you did you think that really helped you succeed?
Sure. Well, the first month was unique because it was that pre-launch time, and there was no exposure in the field, so it was very much an education time. I stayed very focused though on that fast start bonus. That was how we were able to get paid in the field at the time, and I knew building a team was definitely going to be powerful for the launch. And so I was looking to grow markets really coast to coast. I've got team literally kind of across the nation, and so I was just reaching out, looking for other like-minded leaders to really lead the charge. So that was kind of my approach in the first 30 days.
Yeah, well, that's awesome because I think that's one of the number one things that people can do in the beginning is just focus on the fast start bonuses. Not get too ahead of yourself. There's so much there, and they pay so well in those beginning months. I love what you said about that. And I love what you said about getting out of your own neighborhood. So your idea of just spreading out and looking for leaders. Those are great. That's great things to do in that first 30 days. So along the way, and this could be over your 5 years experience, or it could just be in Monat, but any mistakes you've made along the way since you've been in direct selling and network marketing?
Oh yeah, I always talk to my team about, when you get started in a direct sales business, there's always that time when you're new that you think there's paths to take, and we kind of forge our own paths at some point. Maybe we see a path and think it's a shortcut. or maybe we're going to do something completely different. And I always say, if the wheel rolls, don't change it. Stay on the path that you see leaders getting to where you want to be. That is ultimately the best way to move your business. And I know I've taken all paths. I take responsibility for all those. I've learned a lot of tough lessons, but if you can share that education with a team, it allows them not to have so many road bumps along the way.
It's so true. If a system works, don't change it. It's there for a reason, and you're so right. Any of you, do you have a favorite product, or you or your husband or your family, anything that top two things that you always have, love, just would not want to go out without?
Yeah, well, I always laugh because, people always sit there and they say, oh, I don't know about the price or anything, and I laugh because I have a family of 9 on Monat products, and that's why I love the business opportunity, because I can get them at a discount or even get them paid for because I get paid. But these products are just amazing. I think to pick one or two is really challenging because I'm kind of a product junkie. I love them all, but I love the replenishing mask. It allows me to kind of have that amazing hair that every woman wants, but it gives me it at home. I'm a busy mom of 7, and so I'd love to say, yeah, ladies, I sat in a salon a lot, but the reality was I was in car line and running kids to football games. So if I could pamper myself at home with a product like Monat, that was just so exciting because I felt like I walked out of that salon every time I used that mask. So I think out of all of them, that's probably my most favorite.
I love that one as well. When people now, so if you're you mentioned the car line, you're at school functions, you're out to dinner, you run into somebody or you catch up with them. Would you have a favorite response or a go-to that you say when people say, "Oh, hey Angela, what have you been up to?" Or when they say, "What are you doing lately?" Do you have a favorite thing you love to say when you share Monat? Are you still there, Angela? Hey Angela, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we just got disconnected.
Hey, are you still there?
Are you there, Jody?
Yep, I think we lost you for a second, but looks like
Yeah, I lost you there for a minute.
well, good. Well, we're back. So good. And that's the beautiful thing about these live interviews. So we're just going to keep going. This is so I'm
That's
fantastic that we
perfectly
got you
fine.
back. So when did you hear what I was asking about your favorite response when people ask you what you do when you run into them, like at the car lines?
Absolutely, yes. As I was saying, I like to keep it kind of personal when each person's talking to me, but I always assume people know about Monat. That works really well. So, typically I'll say, I'm in the marketing kind of element of a company called Monat Global. Have you heard of it? And so by me assuming that, they've heard of it, or like, what rock have you been living under? They kind of start to think a little bit more, and that prompts people to start to ask questions. I think the key when you're introducing yourself and this opportunity is to engage and not be an infomercial. So I want to kind of lead someone into a conversation of curiosity, and so that's usually a good segue into to kind of getting someone to ask a little bit more of, no, I haven't heard about Monat. What is that? So that's been my best kind of approach.
Fantastic. And I love all these different little tips of what people can say. Some advice corners. You've given a lot of amazing advice here today, just a little bit, but I wanted to go back here before we get into advice because you mentioned some things that you thought were very differentiators about Monat in that very beginning of when we started chatting of what you saw since you've both been professionals in this industry. When you mention those, and then we'll get to the advice, the differentiating pieces, what did you notice that was very different with Monat than anything you've ever seen?
Sure. I think a couple things really stood out to me from the business side. And one, if you're looking at business, you're looking at that investment and what am I going to be able to leverage. So that market potential was huge for me. I saw hair care, and I had not seen hair care exclusively in this industry. So I knew being the first was an exciting position to be in. And with that, how much can someone make with an exciting opportunity in a niche market? And so looking at that compensation plan, I've seen lots of compensation plans, been approached by many companies, but I've never seen one like this. It was very rich and unique. And when they threw founder out, I knew that was something that was going to allow us not only to keep living the way we were living, but it was going to allow us to really kind of retire the way we wanted to retire and leave that legacy for our family, you know, as life goes on. Those were all really distinguishing factors that really said, yeah, I'm going to go back out in those trenches. I'm going to, you know, it's not easy being a direct to corporate founder. You know, you don't have an upline, you just forge forward. But I knew with those challenges there was a greater reward.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for sharing that because those are really important key things. So when we look at advice, if you were talking to any market partner around the United States and soon to be Canada here, anything advice that you would give someone and they're starting off or budget of going away with their journey and moving forward, working towards founder themselves?
Absolutely. Every time that I speak to someone, whether they're on the kind of on the verge of joining or they have just joined, I say, you know, this works for everyone if you work the business. And the two things I'm going to encourage someone is to be consistent and to be present in their business. And really that means each day we can take a little time slot because we're all busy. I mean, that's life. Life goes on. It's never going to have that opportunity where it's a perfect time in your life to join a business. But what it is the perfect business and the perfect time to join. And so if you can just take a little bit of that time each day and be intentional in your business, it can really start to change how your business will become. Now, you know, as far as being persistent and keeping the pace, life happens, but the beauty of direct sales is if you duplicate yourself with a team, if life happens, you can have a bad day in life and have a fantastic business because you're not one, you're many. And so that's what I encourage everybody when they jump in is to know that you've got your hands in a vehicle that can really take you wherever you want to go, and all you have to do is drive it. So.
Oh, that's such good advice. I love, it is. There is no perfect timing in anything in life, really. Having a baby, whatever, moving, just so many things that's just, life is just about just living and doing and being a part of something. So great advice. This is your favorite quote. And I loved asking about the favorite quote. And we were talking, when people say that they're busy, I can only imagine how busy you are with 7 kids. So when you share this quote, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's what we do with it that creates our legacy. I just smiled because I thought, my gosh, I think I'm busy with 3 kids and the stuff I do. God bless you for all the things that you do to inspire not only your family, but so many. So tell me why this quote is important to you, what it means, why you picked it.
Sure. I think this quote is the one that always stands out to me because I believe that everybody has a purpose in life. Everybody has some mark they're going to put on the life. And it's what we do with our days that kind of creates that mark. And for somebody who says, I'm just too busy, Angela, my team knows if they come up and say, I just don't have time, they're probably going to get a little bit of a talk because reality is we all have those 24 hours. It's how we choose to use it. And I think that is usually the key to people who have success in this industry and those that don't. It's not that they can't do it, it's they just don't do it, and that's the key factor. It's we've just got to do it and we've got to find time or you're right, it's not going to work. And that's just kind of my approach. I work this business like a business and it pays me like a business. And it's because I treat it like that every single day. And what it's going to do for not only my family, but for all the families on the team. We're one big family at Monat, and I love that. We're really impacting so many generations with this vehicle called Monat.
Aw. So tell me now. Here's a picture of your 7 beautiful kids, and it looks like you're on vacation somewhere because I see all the beautiful foliage. How does your life since Monat came into the picture? What does it look like? What has that allowed your family to do? Extra trips, things, education, sports. How has it changed your life?
Yeah, the great thing about this is we've been able to kind of continue the way we're living. We love the fact that we do life around our children. I'm a mom and I say kids measure love by time, Time. And we give them a lot of time and I think that's important because we all know how fast they can grow up. But I love the fact that we can take some of those times when we weren't able to travel. We weren't able to have that family vacation before direct sales and Monat's allowed us to travel quite a bit. And like you said, that's a Florida. We go every couple months on a vacation somewhere. I'm able to be a mom, a football mom. I don't miss anything anymore. And I think that is truly what makes me feel like I'm living my life the way I want to. It's about those 7 kiddos right there. And they can look back and say, you know what? We had a mom and she was present. And we had a dad. He was right there alongside of us. But with Monat, I've also been blessed with the opportunity to travel with the corporate office. I've taken 5 trips in 9 months. That has been fun. I've gotten to know the corporate staff, and really get to meet leaders that are cross-line across the country. So I just think it's just a blessing to be able to have that freedom.
Awesome. Any final words? If somebody trips across this founder chat, or someone shares it with them, or however they come to this, and they're just looking at Monat right now, kind of measuring out whether this is a fit for them, any advice you would give for someone taking a look at Monat?
Typically what I encourage people is I like to ask people, what would you do if money was not an object? I think that's such an interesting conversation. That's kind of how you can uncap those kind of dreams people have, find out what they would really want to do with their life, not what they have to do. And then I always ask, like, well, what's your plan to get there? And it's always almost like deer in headlights. They just don't have the plan. I feel like most people live in the dream, but they don't have the activity behind it, or the plan, or the vehicle. And that's where I go and say, guess what? You've got Monat right here for a reason. And this absolutely can be a vehicle that can get you there if that's what you want. And that's just kind of how I speak. I feel like you've got to stay true to what you feel and kind of paint that vision, because a lot of times people want to have their dreams. They just don't know how to get there. So I use that as kind of the way I talk to people, Jody. So
Ah, well, thank you. It's amazing to see the people have so much success in this company. It's really blown my mind, and I'm so grateful to have you here sharing just your tips, your feedbacks. You had some awesome advice in this, and just sharing kind of your perspective as a busy mom of 7 who can get to be home, and like you said, you live your life around your kids, and what a blessing that is just in itself. So anyone that came here today, that just popped on and listened to this, if you have any questions, get back with the person that invited you to take a listen to this. There's obviously a reason for them to want to share this with you. And for everyone else that's listening, you guys all, thank you so much for spending some time with Founder Chat with Angela today. Angela, thank you so much for being here. Everyone, make it a great day.